1969 at Maine East High School. This is how I talked when I joined WMTH. Seriously. Fortunately, Mrs. Shawless was the faculty manager of the station at the time and also a speech teacher, and my enunciation improved dramatically. My first on-air experience was traumatic for both me and I suppose the audience. I was reading the news, I was so nervous, my hands were shaking and rattling the paper. So somebody indicated, put your hands on the desk, which I did. So the desk started shaking. No problem, except that the boom mic was next to the desk and all people could hear was boom, boom, boom. Over time, I eventually got very comfortable being on radio and had a great time. I eventually ended up running the Twin 8 Survey, the Friday afternoon show that featured the top 16 songs in Maine Township. I would play a countdown starting at number 16 going up, and we tried to be somewhat scientific about how we ranked the songs. We tallied student requests. We called up local record shops for what songs were the best-selling ones, and we looked at Billboard magazine to find out nationally how things were ranked. And then we put together the survey every week. We would print it up, and we created these little sheets, and we distributed them to record stores in Des Plaines, Park Ridge, Niles, Morton Grove, and so forth, trying to get more listeners to the show. And then, to give you a point of perspective, I looked up what were the top songs of 1969. In the top five, the number 5 was Honky Tonk Woman by the Rolling Stones. I forget number 4. Number 3 was The Fifth Dimension, The Age of Aquarius, very peace, love, and recycle. And number 1, the ultimate bubblegum song, the Archies singing Sugar, Sugar. So we had a pretty diverse type of music that was being played every week. I loved radio, and so I decided that I would join the University of Illinois College of Communications and major in radio and television. My choice was University of Illinois because they had 2 student stations, one WILL, radio and television, which was actually part of the public broadcasting system, and then also WPGU FM, which was actually a commercial student-run radio station. So when I joined, I took whatever shifts I could possibly get, and in my second year, I became an operations manager. During this time, I also worked with a fellow student named Rick Salinger, creating radio commercials. And I quickly realized Rick was, so much better than I was, and that I would be relegated to mid-market stations, having to do sock hops on the weekend. Yeah, they really did exist back then. Car dealership, remote broadcasts, and whatever work I could scrape together to make a decent living. And that was not what I had hoped for in my career. So at that point in time, I thought, well, I love doing the commercials, so why not major in advertising instead of radio and television? And that's what I did. By the way, Rick Salinger made national fame. He was a war correspondent in Iraq. I believe he is still a lead on the evening news on CBS in Denver. So his career was quite outstanding. So at any rate, I graduated. The job market was absolutely horrible at the time. And so I could not find a job in an ad agency of any fame. With the Vietnam War going on and without a college deferment, I also risked, getting drafted to the military. So I went to grad school and got my MBA. And that then opened doors when I graduated. I started working for Frankel, which is now ARC Worldwide. Then moved on to Ogilvy, at the time one of the biggest ad agencies in the world. And then I went to the client side, in particular Visa USA. Visa at the time, there were only about a dozen people in the entire marketing department of the company. 17 years later, when I left as the senior vice president of marketing, I had over 100 people reporting to me in numerous agencies. Then I moved on to franchise businesses and ended my career as a chief marketing officer for a national property management company. I loved all of it. I loved marketing. I loved the fact that it was constantly changing, and I also loved the diversity of the kinds of businesses I could work with. I was also asked to provide some career advice to those of you still in school. I think there are three things that account for much of my success. Number one, work harder and smarter than your peers. The real world is very competitive. And if you want to advance your career, you're going to have to be smarter and work harder than your counterparts. Secondly, be nice, be cooperative, be a team player, and be loyal. Others will reciprocate, and it will make you more successful. And finally, do what you love for a career. If you love what you do, it won't be work. It'll be fun. And if it's fun, you're going to be very good at it. Now, this may take some trial and error. It took me some time, but experiment and know yourself. That's all I got for you. This is Bob Piefke signing off. Cue the national anthem.